Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Snoring, choking, dying in your sleep, also known as sleep apnea. Polls show that most of you already know what I'm talking about. I have some quick definitions. Apnea is when we stop breathing for 10 seconds or longer. Hypopnea is when we're still breathing, but we're under breathing, and that lasts about 10 seconds as well. We have our oxygen saturation level. That's the important number, and it's not an oxygen that's in our bloodstream. We want that to stay above 90. We have our apnea-hypopnea index, and so that's the combination of the apneas and the hypopneas and how many times we stop breathing or have a reduction in flow per hour. And then there's two big types of apnea. We have central apnea, where our body forgets to breathe. And then we have obstructive sleep apnea, which is much more common, and that's where something is preventing us and is choking us from breathing. So AHI, it is normal to stop breathing 5 times an hour as we transition through stages of sleep. When we have mild apnea, that's 5 to 15. Moderate is 16 to 30, and then anything over 30 is considered severe. So obstructive sleep apnea is way underdiagnosed in this country. They estimate there's 12 million people that have obstructive sleep apnea. Of people that actually get diagnosed with sleep apnea, only 4% have actually gone to their doctor complaining about sleep apnea. Most get diagnosed in the course of some other visit. So the basic numbers here are, if you're sleepy and you have all the symptoms, classic symptoms of sleep apnea, that's only 4% of men. Out of the 24% of men who actually have sleep apnea. And the same is true for women. The statistic for women is misleading because there are major changes that happen with menopause. So that is all women together have 9% of women have sleep apnea. But it's really very few women premenopausal, and we catch up to men post. There are two kind of big phenotypes, types of people that we think of as sleep apnea. This first one that I put in category 1 is the big neck and the big belly and male and just a big guy. And the next category of people, next slide, are not people that look like me, people that you don't think should have sleep apnea. And we've got the long face, and we have, sinus issues, and our orthodontist extracted a bunch of teeth and made everything smaller, and our airway collapses because we're just taking over. So the reason why we care about sleep apnea, the reason why I'm talking to you today about sleep apnea, is because it has major consequences for your entire life and your lifespan. And the first thing is cardiovascular. We have study after study about how obstructive sleep apnea is going to affect your heart. You are almost 3 times as likely to have hypertension if you have obstructive sleep apnea. And coronary heart disease, heart failure, and arrhythmias, sudden nocturnal death, just dying in your middle of your sleep. The most common time for a heart attack is in the early morning hours, as our blood pressure rises, and as we're getting ready for the day, and our body can't take it, and that's when we have our heart attack. That's when we have our stroke. And if you have obstructive sleep apnea, you are 5 times more likely to die of something related to a heart issue than someone who does not have obstructive sleep apnea. Next slide. Your brain likes oxygen. Funny. And if it doesn't have oxygen, it gets depressed. And it starts this cycle of not sleeping well and spiral depression. And the same with dementia. If you have obstructive sleep apnea, you are likely to get dementia 10 years earlier than if you didn't. And pain. There is a definite, if you sleep well, you are more resilient to pain. Sleep has a bigger impact on your perception of pain than pain has a perception on sleep. And it's getting to that heart cause, the root cause. This is especially true again with women. women get diagnosed with pain, chronic depression and fatigue. And it's really the apnea that's making them tired. It takes them 10 years between their first diagnosis with a pain issue and a diagnosis of sleep apnea. That's like diabetes. There's a direct correlation to your obstructive sleep apnea level and your blood sugar level. And just short sleeping without having obstructive sleep apnea, by getting that 7 hours and not that 8 to 9 that we recommend, you are changing your body's ability to process insulin. And they've done studies with a chronic short sleep and a little bit of like an hour of jet lag for a month, and they've turned normal people into pre-diabetic people just by that little shift. That's like kidney disease. You're twice as likely to get chronic kidney disease and then renal failure if you have obstructive sleep apnea. It is a major consideration if you have this disease. So the way this all works is you get that chronic sleep deprivation by just undersleeping because you keep waking up in the middle of the night, 120 times now. You have that chronic intermittent underbreathing, so you're just not getting enough oxygen to your brain, which is scary. So your sympathetic nervous system starts going. And then that causes this chronic inflammation, so nothing has a chance to relax. Next slide. This is the basic sleep staging. This happens every 90 minutes. This first part, that stage 4, that's deep sleep, that's where your body is that restorative part. And that last part is that where you have lots of REM sleep, that's your memory processing. And that's important too, so you can get on with the next part of the day. So, the nutshell is get a sleep study. If you're concerned about a loved one, if you have uncontrolled hypertension, if you're having a hard time controlling your blood sugar, look, there might be another cause, and get a sleep study. Thank you.